Laughter echoed off the glass walls of the rooftop, like cruel music. The night sky shimmered over the city, but down by the pool, a young waitress stood drenched, her hands trembling, her uniform clinging to her skin. They said it was an accident. It wasn't. Someone had pushed her, just for a laugh. But when a tall man at the far end of the party set his drink down and began walking toward her, the laughter stopped. No one knew who he really was. It had been a long night for Emma Clark. Third double shift this week. Same fake smiles. Same rich guests pretending not to see her. The rooftop glittered with money and arrogance. Designer dresses, champagne flutes, and careless laughter. She was used to it. But when she tripped slightly serving drinks near the pool, a group of influencers snickered. One of them, a woman in a glittering gold gown, smirked. Careful, sweetheart. Wouldn't want to ruin the party. Emma forced a smile. Sorry, ma'am. But the woman stepped closer, her tone colder. Or maybe you already did. Then one shove, a splash, and silence, followed by laughter sharp enough to cut through her heart. She climbed out, shaking, humiliated, and that's when she saw him watching. The man stood apart from the others, dressed in a simple gray suit, hands in his pockets, eyes dark with something between anger and disbelief. Emma looked away quickly, cheeks burning. The other guests kept laughing, phones out, recording her humiliation for their stories. Lighten up, someone said. It's just water. She should thank us for the attention. Another voice chimed in, but the man didn't laugh. He set his glass on the table and began walking toward her. The air shifted, small, invisible, but powerful. Even the music seemed to falter. He stopped a few steps away and quietly took off his jacket. Without a word, he placed it over her shoulders. The laughter died. The woman in gold froze mid-sentence. Emma stared at him, speechless. His voice came low, steady. You all right? She nodded weakly, unable to meet his eyes. Fine, she whispered, though she wasn't. Doesn't look like it, he said. His tone wasn't pitying, it was protective. Around them, the crowd began to murmur, curiosity rippling through the air. Who's that guy? Someone whispered. Is he security? No, look at his watch. He turned toward the group that had been laughing and asked, calm but sharp, was that funny to you? The woman in gold stuttered. It was an accident. Really? He asked, voice quiet but colder now. Because from where I stood, it looked like cruelty. His words landed like stones in still water. No one moved. Then, finally, the event organizer rushed over, nervously adjusting his tie. Sir, please, it's just a misunderstanding. The man's eyes narrowed. A misunderstanding that happened in my hotel? The organizer froze. The whisper spread like wildfire. Wait, that's him. That's Ethan Cross, the billionaire hotel owner, the man whose name was carved into the very building they stood on. The crowd fell into stunned silence. The woman who'd pushed Emma turned pale. Ethan looked at her once, then simply said, You can leave now. What? She stammered. You heard me. He turned to the organizer. Escort her out, and anyone else who thinks humiliation is entertainment can join her. The room stood frozen as she was led away, heels clicking against marble. When Ethan turned back to Emma, his voice softened again. You should go get warm. I still have work, she murmured. Not tonight, he said. Go home. She hesitated, then nodded, clutching his jacket tighter around her shoulders. As she walked away, she heard whispers following her, half curiosity, half envy. Ethan stood there, watching until she disappeared into the elevator. Later that night, when the rooftop was empty, Emma sat alone in the staff locker room, staring at the jacket. It smelled faintly of cedar and something expensive. She had no idea what to do with it. The next morning, she folded it neatly into a paper bag and went to return it to the front desk. Mr. Cross left a message for you, the receptionist said. He wants you to meet him at corporate this afternoon. Her stomach dropped. She thought she was in trouble. Hours later, she stood outside the glass tower across International, clutching the bag, rehearsing what to say. Inside, the receptionist smiled knowingly and led her to the top floor. Ethan was waiting by the window, city skyline glowing behind him. "You didn't have to come all the way here," he said. "I just wanted to return your jacket." She held out the bag. "Thank you for last night. You didn't have to step in." "Someone had to," he replied. "I don't like bullies." She smiled faintly. "Neither do I." "You handled it better than most would," he said, admiring her calm. "You could have cried, shouted, but you didn't." "Crying wouldn't change anything," she said quietly. "It never does." For a moment, he said nothing, just studied her. Then he walked to his desk, picked up a file, and handed it to her. "I'm opening a new restaurant on the ground floor. I need someone who understands both sides of the business, the guests and the staff. I'd like you to manage it." She blinked. "Me? I'm just a waitress." "No," he said, meeting her eyes. "You're the only person I saw last night who kept their dignity when no one else did." Her throat tightened. "Why me?" "Because I trust people who've been underestimated," he said. "They work harder, lead better, and never forget what respect feels like." Emma hesitated. "I don't know if I can." "You can," he said firmly. "You just haven't been given the chance." Months later, the restaurant opened to glowing reviews. Emma stood behind the counter, dressed in a sleek uniform, directing her team with quiet confidence. The once nervous waitress was now the woman who ran the city's most elegant dining space. That night, as guests filled the tables, she looked up and saw Ethan by the door, smiling softly. "Told you you could do it," he said. "You gave me the chance," she replied. He nodded toward the pool on the rooftop, visible through the window's reflection. "Seems like things came full circle." "Maybe they did," she said, smiling. The laughter that filled the room this time wasn't cruel. It was warm, alive, and real. And as Ethan watched her move gracefully through the crowd, he thought to himself, sometimes one small act of decency could change two lives forever.